All right, good afternoon and welcome to this month's featured webinar on how to create a more efficient fleet to increase ROI and revenue back to your business. I'm Jeff Alsop with GPS Trackit. I'll be your host today along with Amit John from Roadz. Over the next 30 minutes, you will learn how GPS Trackit software and tools can help streamline your fleet operations, from better route management to reducing fuel costs. If you have any questions, please use the QA button at the bottom of your screen and we'll address those towards the end of the session. So let's dive right into the software and kind of discuss a different variety of tools we can leverage within the platform, from route management, fuel consumption savings, and reporting and dashboards that we can leverage in this platform. So I'm going to go ahead and all right. So what's a hot topic on everybody's mind right now is fuel consumption, reducing fuel costs. Our margins are shrinking because of the increasing costs around the board. And when you're running a fleet, fuel is one of those number one factors. Now, when we look at fuel, the thing that pops in my head most is things like idle time. But downstream effects of fuel consumption are things like excessive speeding, rapid accelerations use fuel, when our vehicles aren't running at the optimal level, when our maintenance is lagging and our vehicle health is low, we're going to get a reduced MPG. And that's also going to play into more efficient routing and dispatching. We'll produce less mileage, less drive time, less fuel consumption. So when we wrap all that together, what we want to accomplish within our platform is making sense of that data and how do we use it. So one of the best ways to do that within our software is to follow a workflow of identify, act, and then monitor. So I want to quickly walk you through something like that in relation to fuel savings and creating efficiencies there. One of the best places to start for that is with our dashboards. So our dashboards are simple charting tools that you can create. So you have a easily digestible snapshot of data that's aggregated for you. When we think in terms of fuel consumption, idle time plays a big role in that. So if I'm looking across my fleet, I can quickly see what are my highest idle time vehicles, who are my outliers that I need to do some driver coaching with. So once I've identified my outliers, I can dive into the data some more by jumping over into our reporting piece here. Now you notice we've got some new reports coming down the pike as well, so you can look forward to those. But simply pull up your units. We'll pick one, for example. We'll go into our idle report. We can also filter these out so we can focus on those higher idle times that we're most concerned about and see how many of those we have per vehicle across our entire fleet. Let's go ahead and take a look at this week so far. The reason it's important to understand what type of idle time is occurring is there's kind of twofold. You have the long time idlers, which will sit and idle for 30 minutes. You've got the short time idlers who will sit and do 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 3 minutes here. All of a sudden, by the end of the day, it stacks up. So this report helps you understand where they're idling, how long they're idling per event, and what their total idle times are. Now, the simple math on idle time is every hour of idle time is approximately a gallon of gas used. You know, the national average is shrinking down from 5 to closer to 4. But if we do the math on that lower side of things, if each of your vehicles is averaging an hour per day, that's $20 a week, that's $80 a month. Let's say you got a 10-unit fleet, that's over $800 a month in wasted fuel. And then think about adding in excessive speeding, inefficiencies in dispatching and routing that are increasing mileage and drive time, which consume more fuel as well. And you get this bigger picture of the different tools we can create within the platform. So the third piece of this whole workflow and best practice is now I want to monitor that, right? So I've identified some areas of issues. I've looked into the reporting to kind of understand what that data looks like. Now I want to monitor that information. So we can jump right over to settings. This is where all our automation is housed from a learning perspective, both via email and text message. So you're aware of these things in real time and can take the proper measures. So for this example, I mentioned speed and idle time. So you've got your idle alerts. Set your parameter for when you want to be notified on excessive idle, which vehicles that applies to, as well as who the contact is that needs to receive that, whether it's a fleet manager, an office manager, a mechanic, whoever it may be. The other alert that can play a good role in this is max speeds. So at the higher rates of speed, you end up with a reduced MPG. So that also plays into safety. So if we think about, I want to know if any of my vehicles go over 80. I know that might be A, unsafe, and B, my MPG is reduced at that type of a speed. Again, follow your workflows here for notifications, and you've got 2 key notifications on saving on fuel. The third one I mentioned is excessive drive time, excessive mileage, things like that. So we also have a total drive time or consecutive drive time alert, which you can be notified if you have longer trips than you might expect from your vehicles. So that's one way to think about efficiency when we talk about fuel. Another great way is through route management, right? Especially in field services or service-based industries, the name of the game is get as many jobs done as we can per day in the most efficient manner. So how do we do that? That's largely leveraged through the mapping piece here. One, guys, we can create routes. We can optimize those routes for least amount of mileage, shortest distance between stops, so that we're able to get more jobs done per day. Another great tool is finding your nearest vehicle. Simply pull up a saved address in the system or a landmark of an existing client, hit the find button, and we're going to draw down from your fleet who the closest vehicle is. So tangible benefit right here is we're going to decrease the mileage driven to the next stop. We're going to decrease fuel consumption through less drive time, but we're also going to make our customers happier. We might be able to squeeze in that extra job because we're sending the closest vehicle. And in turn, if we're more effective with our dispatching and routing, we'll be able to add jobs per week. With the GPS Trackit system, what we can typically see is up to an extra job or stop per week per vehicle done. So in terms of revenue, what does that look like? A lot of companies will have a set dispatch fee. So let's call that dispatch fee $50. So if we're getting an extra stop done per week at an average or a minimum of $50 per stop, that's $200 per month. That's $2,400 per year. Let's say you've got a 10 truck fleet. It's $24,000 in additional revenue, just with one extra stop per day, because we've become more efficient, more productive with how we dispatch our vehicles. Another thing to think about it when we talk about route management is aggregating your stops in smaller areas to where you can get more of them done. So in sales, when you have a bad salesman, especially if they're an outside salesperson, they'll do what we call a star salesman. They might hop from Frisco down to Waxahachie, back over to Rockwall, instead of hitting all the businesses they want to hit up in this area and moving to another segment. So from a service-based company perspective, what we want to do is make sure that all our jobs per driver are as truncated as possible for us. That way we can get more done. Again, can't hammer this home enough. Driving less mileage, putting less wear and tear and mileage on the vehicles by segmenting out your jobs appropriately. And that routing tool can really help with that. When we're adding all our stops within our route, I'll give you a route example here. When we're adding all our stops within this route, this is not an efficient route, by the way, guys, but when we're adding our stops on the route, it's going to show us where they are. And we can optimize that route through these optimization tools, as well as avoiding tolls to save money for your business as well, and truncate those jobs accordingly. So that's a great tool from the mapping perspective. When I think in terms of how do we evaluate that, we can jump right back to our reports. So for me, I can look at 2 different things. I'm going to pull up, let's pull up chart number 6. 2 different reports I like from here. One is a stop report. We'll go to last week. What a stop report is going to do for you is show you where the vehicle stopped, what time it stopped, and how long it was there. So if you have an average metric in mind of how long each job should take, then we can see if you're hitting that metric, right? If jobs are taking longer than expected, we might miss the last job on our schedule. We might not be able to get as much done in a day. So seeing that average stop time is really handy. The other one is going to be the trips report or the moving report. And again, these filters can come in handy if you want to evaluate, hey, I'm trying to keep my trips between stops under a certain amount of time. We can filter that out and show you those that are longer. So when I take a look at trips, we can easily identify how long that transit time is. You can imagine if every one of my trips from job to job or site to site is 15 minutes or less, I'm going to get more done in a day than I would if my average trip is 30 plus minutes. So we're giving ourselves more time in the day, creating more efficiencies and creating more revenue by more jobs completed. So I can scroll through the different arrivals, departure times, and see what my transit time is between each stop. So again, helpful on evaluating that data. Finishing that kind of workflow, we can jump right back to our settings. I mentioned that consecutive driving alert that plays into efficient route management, but also the extended stop alert, letting you know if you have a stop longer than you would expect that might affect your schedule for the remainder of the day. Whole goal here, guys, is to help you guys identify new workflows within our software to create better efficiencies, more productivity, creating higher returns on investment and additional revenue back to the company. On average, we see our clients return 4 to 1 to 3 to 1 on their investment with us. You couple that with increases in revenue and lower operational costs, and you get a big chunk of cash that you can reinvest in your business, create driver incentive programs, do all sorts of things, expand your business with some growth, hire new people, hire more, or buy more assets or vehicles for your business as well. That's our whole goal here for you guys. So if we're able to follow this kind of best practice of initially identifying where we have some risk, we have some inefficiencies, we have some opportunities to do better, evaluating that information through our reports so we kind of understand it better, then we can choose what type of alerts we want to set up, how we want to monitor that and manage by exception. For a lot of you out there, you're not only running the business, you might be out in the field as well. You don't have time to sit and stare at a computer screen all day long. So we want to give you some of those automation tools so you're aware what's going on with your business in real time. Now, lastly, for those of you that are looking to take the next step, is our VidFleet dashcam solutions. So this goes back into efficiencies within claims processes. If you're having a lot of incidents, we have proof positive of who's at fault. Also helps you guys out from the liability side. And in the grand scheme of things, when we're putting dash cams in the vehicles, drivers are more cognizant of what they're doing, specifically with our in-cab coaching and edge processing. So for example, truck 10 has a dash camera on it. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, when you add dash cams with GPS Trackit, you get this extra button here. We take it, we take a snapshot every 10 minutes while the vehicle's on. We can do live stream. We can request and fetch older video if an incident has occurred. And we manage all that through our video piece. So if our drivers are more aware of what they're doing in the vehicle, that A, creates safety, and B, creates more efficiencies with how they're operating. So for example, we've got some close following videos here, no seatbelt videos here. Give you an example of a specific one for something like a collision warning. We can see a vehicle coming up to this stoplight before these vehicles start taking off, and we're getting pretty close there. So some video-based evidence to support all the GPS data that you're getting from us for proof positive. So that can play really well into a variety of circumstances that we've already discussed. If we're seeing really high idle times from a vehicle, we can poke back in and fetch that time period and take a look at what were they doing in the vehicle while they're idle. Was it productive? Were they doing paperwork? Were they having lunch? What were they doing there? In terms of stops verification for a client, we can pull a video from a stop and show the client that we were at their place of business or at their residence to do the work and verify that data as well. So video just helps us take the next step in that verification process. Really, from an efficiency standpoint, when there is an incident, it's going to protect us. It's going to create efficiencies within that claims process and speed that whole process up. If you're not at fault, you've got proof positive. That is what I've got today for you guys. If there's any questions, Amit, I'll let you take over and speak to the Roadz Marketplace and how that can create a even more robust fleet management environment for our clients.
Thank you, Jeff, and welcome everybody. Just what Jeff covered with you guys was how you can access features on the GPS Trackit system to improve operational efficiency, lower cost, and improve safety. What I'm going to take you is a step further, and one of the features that you may have noticed on the GPS Trackit Marketplace, GPS Trackit tool, was a marketplace at the bottom of the navigation menu. Once you click on that, and I will share my screen, you come to the GPS Trackit Marketplace, which is powered by Roadz. So this is where you will come to the landing site. The idea here is GPS Trackit is a phenomenal system to help drive down some of the operating costs and improve safety, compliance, and efficiency. But there are other third-party solutions, partner solutions, that you can also access from the GPS Trackit integrated marketplace. So when you come to this marketplace, and by the way, I posted a link to the marketplace in the chat window, so if anybody wants to follow along. When you come to this marketplace, it has dozens of solutions across a few dozen categories, ranging from asset tracking to predictive diagnostics, distracted driving, field service, so on and so forth. And so there's multiple ways you can look at those solutions. Either you can go to the left side, and there are solution categories listed here. You can just click on a solution category, and the relevant solutions in that category will pop up on the right side of your screen. And then you can click on those solutions. Let's say one of the ones that can help you with fuel savings is this MacTip product. So Jeff showed you how you can limit the speed at a certain miles per hour, and it'll give you alerts, and then you can coach your drivers and help improve driver behavior. So that's a more passive way of training your drivers and impacting the fuel consumption long term. Here is a technology that you go to their solution card. And this basically is a governance technology that's guided by the road segment. So whatever the speed is, let's say they're going through a school zone, so it will not let the vehicle go over 25 or 35 miles per hour, whatever the posted speed limit is. So this is a more proactive way to limit speeding and hence impact the fuel consumption. So all of the solution cards will provide you additional information that you can get to by going to the marketplace. So like I said, you can either go to the category and look at all the solutions, or you can also go to the search window, and I'll look at another solution. So as we know, tire pressure also has a direct correlation with the fuel consumption. So you can put in tire pressure, or in this case, I put Pressure Pro, and you can get to a TPMS solution through this and then review the solution card. Once you do, you can take some action. There's different actions you can take. Request info basically generates a lead that goes to the partner, in this case, Pressure Pro, and they will connect with you and answer any questions you may have about this solution. Another solution that our category that helps with lowering your fuel costs could be something like predictive maintenance. So different ways, again, of getting there is one, you can get to it by, you can type in predictive maintenance. In this case, I am typing in the name of the solution, and it'll take you that solution page. And again, you can go through the card and submit request info. Another great solution that you may want to look at, there is a Shell Maintenance Hub solution. You can get to it again by scrolling through the navigation solution categories or directly to the solution itself. Again, the point here being, you can look at all these partner solutions that GPS Trackit has made available through the marketplace. You can look and browse, and then you can take action, typically by submitting a request info that becomes a lead gen process. In some cases, you can outright buy the solution using the buy button. And in a few cases, you also have a free trial button that is available to you to request a free trial for that particular solution. Case in point, you can use this extensive array of innovation and an open ecosystem of solution in addition to the GPS Trackit solution to help drive down operating costs, improve productivity, and improve safety and compliance. So that concludes our session for today in terms of taking you through the marketplace and the GPS Trackit solutions. Any questions from anybody online? You can submit the questions through the Q&A button at the bottom of your tool. Stop sharing. Jeff, I have a question. Basically, the question is for GPS Trackit, what other ways can it help us lower fuel consumption besides speeding, idling, and route optimization?
With some other potential partners on fuel cards and things like that, curbing fraud on fuel cards. We have fuel card integrations that are available as well for alerts for vehicle not being at the proper location, or an overfill alert for filling up with too much gas from a fuel fraud standpoint. Some other avenues.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, how can I get more information on training?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different ways. One, every account is an account manager assigned to it. You can reach out directly to your account manager, or reach out to our customer service staff, and we can get you that name. We can send you links to the training portal as well. And then give me 1 second. Let me reshare my screen here in a second. I'm going to show you guys our new LMS tool, which is a learn at your own pace tool that provides you with learning videos and documentation. And every single GPS Trackit client has access to this. It is at no charge to you. So if you go up to your profile icon in the top right-hand corner of your application, click on the training piece, it's going to take you into our learning lab. We have every single tab and module built out with training videos, supporting documentation to walk you through the solution. Again, we do offer free and unlimited training group sessions and one-on-one sessions. We can send you our scheduling calendar for that, and you can sign up for as much as you want. And it'll go through varying different modules of basic training to higher level training on video to ELD training as well.
Thank you, Jeff. The question, and I will take this, is for the solutions listed in the marketplace, where can I get more information? So folks, once you go to the solution card, like I said, there is generally a description, a short and a long description. There are actually some YouTube video links, which are also embedded there that give you more information on those product cards that you're looking at. And last but not least, as you scroll all the way down to the bottom right, there is a resource section. In the resource section, you will find some product collateral. So there'll be product spec sheets, there'll be marketing collateral, things of that nature. You can download any of these documents, and also that'll give you more insight into that product. Last but not least, as Jeff is sharing, on the bottom right, there is that blue icon with a comment window. That is a chatbot. So if you have some urgent questions about how the marketplace operates or the solutions on it, you can use the chatbot and submit your comments and questions through that as well. Okay, I do not see any more questions, so that should conclude the session for the day. Thank you everybody for joining the session, and there will be a link to this webinar posted on the marketplace. So later on, if you'd like to go and review it, that is the best way to go to the marketplace. All the way at the bottom on the left side, there's a resource section, and there'll be a link posted to this webinar or podcast on that. Again, thank you for joining, and until next month when we have the next series of these podcasts. We will see you then. Have a good day.